Alrighty, daily trading recap. Let's get after it. To Christ be the glory. Always another grateful, blessed day to be here, living the dream. Absolutely, getting after it one day at a time. I'll get over some dollar volume just for reference for me here, quick before I dive into the day's ongoings. Nasdaq $222 billion volume on the day as of 2 hours after the close. Now nicey 357. No. 1 hour after the close. Nicey $357 billion volume. OTC's $2.2 billion volume. On the day, SPY coming in with a 2.2% day in the green from previous trading day's close. We had some Fed involvement today, a bunch of stupid craziness stuff that really I don't care about. Chinese stocks also getting some bump or reevaluations with the Chinese government now involving themselves. A little intervention going on over there, so kind of gumming up the scanners of all those Chinese tickers popping up today. Not a lot of activity going on in the millionaire chat in regards to red names posting really anything in the morning or in the afternoon session. And definitely doing some more fundamental work on the backtesting and strategies, automated strategies with the futures. How do I word that best? Just putting more work into the data collection and fine-tuning every single aspect of it, mainly prioritizing that risk aspect first before anything else, and not just becoming, like I've been alluding to these past daily recaps, of how I've become so involved and in love with that hit rate, but not really paying any attention to that loss factor that is inevitable when it does happen. So prioritizing that first. Now we're able to weed out all the crap and involve ourselves in more strongly founded and rooted types of automated trades that way. Coming from yesterday, had an awesome strategy that I do definitely want to implement going in the days forward, but didn't really want to push it hard with full ES size today, so only did it with ES or MES in just one contract. But of course, sure enough, it did offer more than enough opportunity than what I was looking for out of the gate right at that 9:30 market open there on the S&P 500. That's all I want to talk about just for introduction and reference. Let's get into some tickers on the day. Only really traded one ticker, RCAT, that I alluded to yesterday. Looking to take an overnight on this one for the third day play today. Did not happen. Pre-market today just falling off, not anywhere near decent volume. Closing the day at $10 million volume, which was just kind of abysmal, especially compared to that first day. Just huge little perk and spikiness, and you just wanted to see any amount of following along, coinciding with what the recent market sentiment has been in these past third-day movers that have produced action in the pre-market of that third day, and even some lingering little tiny action, scalping action in market hours, but just did not offer really any of that after the harder sell-off day from that first green day and harder rest day on that second day yesterday for that trading day of Tuesday. But slowly sizing in, knew that the full position side that I would definitely have been looking to have taken would be close to $1,000 if that opportunity presented itself, but only got myself 50 shares of just kind of giving it a very loose leash, and as it was producing lower price and saying, okay, the volume is not there yet. This is not the ideal setup that I'm looking for, but it's certainly not proving that it's dead as of yet. Very quick and wide spreads here in pre-market, and I just kind of bouncing around, fill another few little remaining shares that gets me to that 50 share position, and I let the market hours do whatever it wants to do. It had a nice little rise or a little dips kind of sell off within that first 2 minutes out of the gate, pushes to above VWAP, a nice move away from VWAP, but just peters out, double tops, and then fails below VWAP here and breaks to a new low of day off of that, and that's where I stopped out for the confirmation of the no trade was there. No opportunity was there. So taking the hits as they come. Obviously, it was even sizing in from after hours on the previous day. I know that is a less probable trade. And that's why I do keep that size so small. And even with what I was sizing in this pre-market today as well, it just was not anywhere near probable. And that's why I kept the size so small and my perspective even clearer of that hey, this is really not the ideal that I came into today wanting to see. But I'm going to let it just absolutely beat me in the face, tell me that I'm wrong before I stop myself out here. So let it do that, take the $6 loss as it comes, and move on to the next one. Learn from it, keep the chart, and apply that to the next potential movers. Like I'll mention on SONM, that already did have a little preemptive move here on its second green day move. But that was RCAT AGRI. Next ticker that I took a paper short on. I wanted to be short this one after seeing this one from my scanners of after night yesterday. I was thinking, gosh, I want to be short this one again for the red day continuation or gap down continuation after we got this little double toppy range here and just sell off even more. And sure enough, getting paper short, it's like I have to wait till market hours with TradingView and then getting short at whatever it defines my entry price as. But just keeping in mind, understanding that, hey, look at this little pop above VWAP here. That's a nice key point for possible entry to get short in this one, to write it down, to be selling into those pops and playing on the downside price action when market hours comes. Hard selling within that first 3 minutes. Obvious points to cover. I think that was even 10% there. Even getting it from 3.3 as it's coming just below 3.05. If able to get filled around there, I mean, beautiful exits at there just for very quick 3-minute trade. If I was getting short during market hours, but still, again, having a position from a much better vantage point would certainly have me covering around there into that flush. And then here again, still on the paper side, covering into the snap out points, just the wrong points of how this trade was, specifically of how I was paper short for the entry that I did have. You know, kind of stepping away from the screen, setting stops, saying, okay, if it comes back above my entry or that open price, or call it the market hours red to green, okay, yeah, I'll just let it stop set there. Maybe it just peels off a little bit more, does something, whatever. Sure enough, that's just the little tap out. That's where a lot of other people obviously had their stops, and that's where the snake wanted to go to get more food, but then ultimately come right back down to where price was comfortable. And that's, man, how many times have I done that rigmarole again and again? And it's just that now process of understanding where is the obvious stop going to be. I've done a pretty good job, decent job of not so much sizing into trades where it is so just completely obvious and then I'm forced to succumb to the whim of whatever slippage that I get on a trade because it's just so popular and it's just so obvious to see specific key levels. But in this specific trade as well, of understanding where could price just potentially tap if there was just nothing else going on, because that's where some few other people have their same idea. Not that it's going to continue on past there, but that could be just a little fake out point, and identifying those and seeing the trends of when that is possible on charts like this, of just that specific point becoming a fake out. It's obviously impossible to predict with 100% certainty every time, but just becoming aware of that more and more of, do I want to actually have a real stop in on this trade, or just keep a mental stop and say, okay, if I don't want to see price here, but I'm not going to put an actual stop in because I just don't want to be picked off. For market makers to see that order, obviously my position size is not going to be enticing any type of market maker, but I know when that position size starts to come on in the future of that's not the habit that I want to be producing or going along with more in the future that way. So that was a GRI. And then I did want to mention SONN as well. Did not trade it or touch it at all, but just for reference, for screen day, shoulda, coulda, woulda. The news catalyst today was they had FDA clearance for the treatment of advanced tumors, whatever, 58 million float, which equates to like a $30 million evaluation to control the entire float type of trading capacity for the price on the day. They do not have a lot of cash left, but they also do have a large amount of warrants and an ATM and a shelf still in play. So keeping that all in mind when trying to potentially look at this one for a dip and rip out of that first 15 minutes out of the gate. Downtrending daily, history of little one and dones here, just based on this 1 year history on the chart. Wanted to see, I was keeping in mind as it was topping off at VWAP here at this price, at this time of 951, then it's putting in that higher low here, thinking, gosh, okay, this could be a turnaround. But then of the same thing of, who's to say that it doesn't drop, a few more cents. We still have another bottom here, and then it could still be putting in a higher low, or even still be a double bottom and still produce that same type of action. But trying to say that, gosh, okay, am I holding myself to this 45 bottom, or do I try to force a bottom, or just let it prove itself, do what it wants to do? But then as it's reaching back all the way to VWAP here with this, not so much consolidation, I want to say, but reclaim to VWAP and now pushing price back above to the upside. Gosh, now it's almost too late for me to say that I want to get an entry in there. So kind of a gunslingery dip and rip opportunity, if I want to call it that. Of course, it's right at that around that 10 a.m. time frame to begin that entry point for this type of block of a trade to play for the upside there above VWAP. But sure enough, then again, that thought comes after that as we get more into the afternoon session for how it's consolidating and clinging to VWAP of, maybe we should throw a few shares on and play for any afternoon move. If it holds nicely, if it breaks to new low day, I think it is not as probable of a chart like that AGRI that it just becomes a fake out. And then immediately rebounds and consolidates again and then produces price action to the upside later. That if it's going to consolidate, I think it could be more testy to the upside, but certainly not be harder to the downside, if that makes sense. And sure enough, it did have some pretty awesome price action, even right coming out of the lunch session, producing the new high at 1400 at 2 o'clock Eastern time frame there at 6694. Very, very beautiful price action for that one. And yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But those are the types of trades that I definitely want to be experimental on. And that's why on a lot of these trades, I just put on very small size, thinking I see a potential idea here, and that's why I'm going to act on it. I'm going to see if that idea has any merit. If it doesn't, then I learned and I go into the next one. But that's the reason why, like on RCAT, hey, I feel like I've seen this type of chart play out before. I'm going to take that same thesis. And SONN today, I feel like I've kind of seen it a little bit before on these first green day movers. Let's throw a few shares on it. I didn't do it today, but that's the idea. Let's throw a few shares on it and see if that idea has any merit. And would have been proven correct on that thesis today, but sure enough, sold off, closed pretty close to where it opened market hours today. So we'll see what it does on that second day tomorrow, and if it does have any craziness on that third day, which would be Friday. It will be interesting to see what happens then. I mean, yeah, SONM, last one that I'm watching. Second day play after the first green day play. It's just tough because I wanted to see this one as a more of a rest day, not too much craziness or volume coming in on the day, but just kind of pre-ejaculating all the way, riding up just short of 1.5 here in the after hours. Strong close during market hours as well. How much could be left in the tank for a third day or even longer multi-day run to be left inside this one? I did not check hard on the fundamentals on this one specifically to see what the specific float on this one or the original news catalyst was. It looks like they got the news catalyst on that first day was smartphone integrates with walkie-talkie and Microsoft Teams. That's awesome. It's not like we have cell phones already, but float of 15 million, American company looks like here. But yeah, keeping that in mind gosh, that is just this game of trading. It's not going to always work out precisely on the exact time frame that everybody wants it to. It's just going to do it whenever it wants to do it. And sometimes that comes at the expense of it not happening to a greater extent at that whatever appropriate time is deemed by the individual traders. So going to be short sale restricted tomorrow, it looks like. So we'll see if this third day does still have any move here, or what pre-market action does tomorrow. Could be an interesting watch. I don't have any hard conviction on it or play ideas as of right now on SONM, but yeah, definitely keeping our eyes on it and keeping our nose and ears and eyes and toes to the grindstone. And we're getting after it day by day. I sincerely thank you guys for watching. We will catch you guys on the next one.